Good afternoon,
Yeah,
sir.
thank you. Very good. Yeah. Because only 20 participants are there, so let's wait for others. I guess most of you, during that time, most of you completed the assignments. Now I have opened what you call um, open a submitting portal, so you can upload your answers to that submitting portal. Since this subject has a practical component also, you better carefully watch the videos, and based on the videos and the module components, I will ask some questions based on it's a kind of spot test. Okay. So we have been discussing the latex, the first chapter, and before that I was trying to give an overview of the natural based product industry. And in this slide, you can see variety of kind of product uh, range, product mix and product range coming under natural rubber industry. So as I mentioned earlier, the first one is pneumatic tires. So I try to explain what is the difference between pneumatic tires and solid tires. So pneumatic tires are going hand in hand with tubes. In solid tires, they don't have uh, as the name implies, they are solid. But in pneumatic tires, you can pressure the tires and use it with or without tubes. So in your day-to-day lives, your bicycles, motorbikes, regular cycles, they have pneumatic tires, right? The importance is they have so attached to our life. Then hot water bottles, automobile vehicle parts, engine parts, industrial components, gloves, condoms, balloons. That's why I mentioned gloves are very important. Gloves in the sense surgical gloves as well as regular uh, household gloves and heavy duty gloves. That's why I mentioned at the beginning, one of my professors mentioned that because birth control, these condoms like things are very important. That's why my supervisor mentioned that if rubber industry was not developed so far, uh, there may be more students in the classroom or no students. More students If there are more students, if there is no that kind of invention, there may be more students. At the same time, if there is no gloves or surgical gloves, there could be a lot of deaths during the birth, right? So gloves and condoms plays a big role in controlling the population, as well as it may be up or down, right? Balloons as toys, boots, shoe soles, sapattu අඩිය කියන්නේ සෝල් එක කියන්නේ jar seals, carpets, mattresses, and so you can have 100 product 100 of items coming under product range. So the next activity is you have to understand what are the companies involved in this business, right? In this industry, who are the major exporters, like that. So at the beginning, I mentioned about the value addition. So value addition, as a undergraduate, you should know exporting value added products. අගේ එකතු කිරීම කියන එක. So this is very important, especially for plantation crop produce, where our target, our objective, our ultimate aim is to export those products in value added terms. Then only the full benefits of those products can be taken. Other end is exporting in raw form or bulk form or commodity form. ඒක තමයි opposite එක. අපිට ඕනම භාණ්ඩයක් හා සේවාවක් අගේ එකතු කිරීම කරලා අගේ එකතු කිරීමෙන් පසුව එක්ස්පෝර්ට් කරන්න පුළුවන්. එහෙම නැත්නම් raw products එහෙම නැත්නම් commodity එකක් වශයෙන් එක්ස්පෝර්ට් කරන්න පුළුවන්. අපි හැම වෙලාවෙම බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ මේ අගේ එකතු කිරීමේ භාණ්ඩයක් වශයෙන් එක්ස්පෝර්ට් කරනකොට තමයි. එතකොට තමයි අපිට full benefit එක ගන්න පුළුවන්. So the value added product exportation or manufacturing starts in 1940s, the World War II time. And at present, the interest of Sri Lanka rubber industry has moved to rubber product manufacturing sector. It has become a big industry. In 2013, value of rubber-based products made locally exceeded 1,000 million US dollars, whereas export value of all types of rubber was 71 million. So if you look at the, so this is 2013. Oh, I didn't update the value. So you better try to update the value. So if I have uploaded the master plan of rubber industry. Through that you can understand what are the objectives of value addition. But whatever it is, without putting much effort to improve the productivity in the field, these things cannot be achieved. ඒ කියන්නේ value chain එකේම තියෙන දේ හැමදේම improve කරන්න වෙලා තියෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ රබර් කර්මාන්තේ රබර් වගාවට ලොකු සෙටක් නොකර මේවා අපිට බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්න බෑ. ඒකෝට රබර් වතු ප්‍රමාණය ක්‍රමයෙන් අඩු වෙනවා නම් රබර් රිසර්ච් ඉන්ස්ටිටියුට් එකට හම් වෙන ප්‍රතිපාදන ක්‍රමයෙන් අඩු කරගෙන යනවා නම් අපිට මේ ඩොලර් මිලියන් ගණන් ගැන කතා කරන්න බෑ. But government has a clear-cut plan to do those things. because of the economic recession, uh, even though you see it's moving very slow, but they have a master plan to improve this sector, especially the plantation and community infrastructure ministry. They work hard to meet the targets. So although Sri Lanka is not a producer of synthetic rubber because we don't have crude oil, the consumption of synthetic rubber was over 12% of total rubber consumption, which rose to 17% in 2015. Because you know that with the value addition, the amount of synthetic rubber required for the industry also has increased. That is obvious, right? Because we are in the value addition, we can't use only the natural rubber, right? Especially rubber wood-based industry also making a contribution, which is around 80 million US dollars today. So it's a good industry, but little effort was taken to improve the production sector or cultivation sector, right? So if you uh, try to understand the strength and weakness of the rubber product industry, strength and weakness of the rubber product industry, you will see that the industry has both strengths and weaknesses. So we know that one of the strengths of the industry is it has uh, established this industry as well as worldwide. So it's an established industry. It's not an emerging industry, right? And we know that we have natural rubber available, but there's a problem with the sustainability. That is a different story, but still natural rubber is available in our country. And from our history, if you go back to the history, we have a trained workforce in the products industry and whole lot of government programs to attract foreign investments. Also, labor force is available which are competent in these technical aspects, and also we as a country we are maintaining labor standards, and these days they are doing it in an ethical manner, so that requirement we are comply වෙනවා කියන්නේ අපි ඒකට එකඟ වෙලා වැඩ කරනවා, compliance with labor standards, because international labor organizations couple of decades before, they used to complain to our industry whether we are not compliant with labor standards and ethical practices. We are doing a lot of violations in labor laws and unethical practices like child labor and violating some labor rules, basic labor rules. But these days, nobody can't point their fingers to our industry because we are almost compliance with such labor standards and following most of the ethical practices, right? The other good thing or other strength is rubber is environmentally friendly raw material. Even though there are some complaints towards the factory processing, in terms of what you called it has it create a forest-like environment. It's environmental friendly raw material. At the same time, government continuously support to develop and promote the sector. So the government support is always there. So especially this present government, they have a special program to uplift this industry because they know without dollar we can't develop as a nation. දැන් ඩොලර් ක්‍රයිසිස් එකක් ආවේ ඒකනේ. දැන් අපි පුළුවන් තරම් එක්ස්පෝර්ට් කරොත් තමයි අපිට ඩොලර් වැඩිපුර හම්බෙන්නේ. එතකොට අපි මේ රෝ මැටීරියල් වශයෙන් එක්ස්පෝර්ට් කරොත් එහෙම අපිට මොනවත් හම්බෙන්නේ නැහැ. Right? Among weaknesses, countries, the industry is facing problems associated with inconsistency in raw material supply. Sometimes our industry, they have to import centrifuge latex from Malaysia or rest of the world. And other problem is price fluctuation because we are a developing country in the world. We don't have upper hand in the market. So our whether it is value added products or non-value added products, they are subjected to whole lot of price fluctuations. මිල උච්චාවචනය වීම සාමාන්‍යයෙන් දැන් ඒක නිමි භාණ්ඩවලට තියෙන මිල උච්චාවචනයට සාපේක්ෂව commodities වලට නිමි නැති භාණ්ඩවලට තියෙන උච්චාවචනය වැඩි. Right? So if we try to export non-value added form, ඒක ගැටලුවක් වෙනවා. Insufficient research and development. So now only, even though this has become a perennial problem, past few years, the previous governments, they didn't realize the importance of research and development. Even though they try to maintain, give the salary to the research stations people, there was no clear-cut effort to make those research studies, appreciate those research studies and put more money to conduct research as well as development. Right? Another one is high cost of testing and certifications. So if you are an exporter, testing is one of the important tasks you need to complete. After testing, you have to do that in trial and error manner and then certifications. So these things are expensive. So if you are trying to develop as an industry, these are a little bit a bottleneck. And high cost of machinery and technology transfer. Because the knowledge transfer has become another problem. high cost of energy, right? High cost of production, which is going hand in hand. High cost of energy can, because you know that our country, the cost of energy has become a big problem because we don't have crude oil like India, Bangladesh. They have their own crude oil or at least gas. Bangladesh, they have their own gas, but still we are not that fortunate enough to have crude oil. You know, time to time, you know, those governments cheated people. Nidya Kambuna, we got oil reserves, something like that. Chandari ඉස්සලා කියනවා මේ හම්බුණා දැන් දින හොඳට ගොඩ ගන්න පුළුවන් කියලා. But if we have that අපිට එහෙම crude oil නිදියක් හම්බුණා නම් අපිට අපේ cost of energy කියන එක අපිට අඩු කරලා එතකොට ගොඩක් cost of energy කියන එක සාමාන්‍ය ඕනම factory එක light bill කියන එක හරි ලොකු සාධකයක් වෙලා තියෙනවා. ඒක තියෙන ලාභය සඳහා. දන්නවා ලාභය කියන්නේ ඉතින් revenue minus cost of production නේ. cost of production එක වැඩි වෙන්න ලාභය අඩු වෙනවා. ඉතින් energy කියන්නේ major component of cost of production එකේ. So if we can reduce the cost of energy or cost of production, that leads to higher profit. එතකොට ගොඩක් එහෙම වුණාට ගොඩක් මේ investors ලා එනවා ඒ රටවල් වලට. ඒගොල්ලන් දැනට එන්න නැති වෙන හේතුව even though we have enough raw materials, the energy cost is really high. Right? සමහර රටවල මේ වගේ industries develop කරන්න ඕන නිසා ඒගොල්ලන් energy subsidized price එකට දෙන්නේ. Subsidized price එක කියන්නේ සහනාධාර ක්‍රමයකට. government එක energy price වලින් 10% වගේ ගෙවනවා. Right? Okay, as I mentioned earlier, assignments are like this, handwritten assignments. I always expect to submit your own answers to the assignment questions. So at the end of this lecture, you should be able to complete these assignments. List the product range of natural rubber. And you should be able to explain very briefly what is the current status of rubber industry and explain the importance of rubber industry to country's economy. Right? So that is a very broad question where you need to understand what are the product range, what sort of products are manufactured, and current status of rubber industry, how much it contribute to the economy, how many employees are there directly and indirectly, how many job openings were opened, how many openings, and what are the other opportunities, and explain the importance of rubber industry to the country's economy. We know that it's a government is still struggling to generate more US dollars after the pandemic. So this is going to be a good thing in that aspect. And everyone should know the composition of natural rubber latex. වැඩිම තියෙන rubber, වැඩිම තියෙන වතුර, ඊට පස්සේ rubber ඒ percentage එක, ඊට අමතරව තියෙන ඒ වගේ non rubber particles වල percentage එක වැදගත් වෙනවා composition එක. So list the parameters used in specification test in grading technically specified rubber and state the meaning. We'll discuss it. And other one is unit operations. Like unit operation can steps coming under manufacturing process. Then you better listen to me very carefully. Then ඕනෑම නිෂ්පාදන ක්‍රියාවලියක ඒ ක්‍රියාවලිය ඇතුලේ unit operations තියෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ ඒකේ ඒ ක්‍රියාවලිය ඇතුලේ විවිධ ක්‍රියාකාරකම් තියෙනවා. Steps in processing steps. ඒවට තමයි list of unit operations කියලා කියන්නේ. In the manufacturing process of centrifuge latex, and you should be able to explain briefly the important activities that need to be undertaken under each of the unit operations. And for the assignments, you should be able to write a short note on the following, that is history and development natural gas products manufactured, because history is interesting. If you watch that video very carefully, it's very interesting, and it is very pathetic situation, you know. And vulcanization process, you should know the importance and how vulcanization is done. The importance of treating wastewater from rubber factory, that is another area, right? So if you physically available, I used to show you good assignments, but since we are doing it in virtually, fortunately or unfortunately, I can't do that. So if you have a chance to visit Rubber Research Institute of Sri Lanka, RRISL, that is the oldest rubber research institute in the world. And if you visit there, you can see a large picture of Henry Vikram at the entrance place of RRI. Is there. The Henry Vikram's photo is there, right? Beside a big rubber tree. And I guess most of you know where the Rubber Research Institute is located. Kotin Rubber Research Institute. Jayamal, are you there? Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Agalawatta.
Agalawatta.
Agalawatta Dardenfield.
Yeah, good. Dardenfield. So it is Pramod Lakmal, are you there? Agalawatti in what district is? Which district it is located? Agalawatta Dardenfield can estate tekedi. What is this district? No idea. Desi Ekai Tispa. Are you there? Desi Ekai Tispa.
Yes. Kalutara district.
Kalutara, yeah. And so that is the main station, but Rubber Technology Department of Sri Lanka is located in the same place or different place? Rubber Technology Department, EPM 2007. Are you there?
Yes, sir.
So what is the location of Rubber Technology Department? Any idea?
No, sir.
Okay, it's all right. It's in Ratmalana, because you know that that should be closer to University of Moratuwa, and the industry, it should be separated from the industry, right? So that is so if we look at the history of the post-harvest processing of rubber, the first attempt at cultivation was made in 1876 actually, by an Englishman, British person, His name is Henry Wickham. Right? He is today. He is considered as the father of the rubber industry. So this person, this Englishman, collected seeds from Brazilian trees with the botanical name Hevea brasiliensis. Commonly we know it as rubber tree. And he sent them to the Kew Botanical Garden in London, and from there they germinated, and seedlings from the germinated seedlings were sent to Sri Lanka, but the results were not that good. So disappointing. However, the following year, same thing was practiced. Few seedlings were sent on to Singapore, and that time it was successful. Right? If we go further in post-harvest processing, once we realize the importance of natural rubber, sometimes we have a feeling that we can't survive in this 21st century without natural rubber. That is very clear, right? At the same time, rubber prices at the Colombo auction is subject to fluctuation, and this industry faces lot of crises. So, especially price fluctuations, right? So, if you they call if we look at the variety of discoveries, විවිධ සොයා ගැනීම, දැන් අපි ඉතිහාසය ගැන පොඩ්ඩක් ඉතිහාසයට යනකොට මේ වර්තමාන රබර් තාක්ෂණය හා සබැඳි ඉන්ඩස්ට්‍රි එක ලොකු දියුණුවක් වුණා 1839 දී. So prior to 1839, the properties of rubber were dictated by the surrounding temperature. මං කිව්වේ temperature වැඩි වුණාම හොඳට වැඩ කරන්න අපි කියන ඔය elastic ගතිය නැති වෙනවා. Temperature අඩු වුණාමත් එහෙමයි. So during the hot summer in the temperate regions, rubber was not that flexible. They were sticky and malleable, right? It is not the desired characters. අපි හිතන characters පෙන්වන්නේ නැහැ. While it become hard and brittle in the cold months. Winter එකේදී ඒගොල්ලන්ට very hard material, they are not stretching like other period, and they were brittle in cold. Brittle කියන්නේ බංගුරයි කියන එක කැඩෙනවා. Right? So as I mentioned earlier, this was finally remedied. This issue was rectified by the discovery of the process of vulcanization. Right? Vulcanization කියන සොයා ගැනීමත් සමගම මෙම රබර් තාක්ෂණයේ ලොකු පුනරුදයක් ඇති වුණා. So under that, a mixture of rubber, white lead and sulfur was dropped accidentally upon a hot stove. So that invention is also a accident. What do you by accident? So that the guy who invented this vulcanization, his wife was mad at him because most of his research were not that successful. He spent a lot of money, but his research were not that successful. So because of that, he used to do a lot of research during night time. Right? One day, when the hot pan of rubber was there, when he was doing some experiments, suddenly his wife came and accidentally dropped some items from the rack. It was sulfur and aluminium, and the resulted product showed a very amazing characters. Then they accidentally ඒවා හැලිලා අරක උඩට wife යාගේ wife එනකොට මේ මනුස්සයා අතින් ඒක හැලිලා. කොහොම හරි අන්තිමට වෙලා තියෙන්නේ ඒක it end up with a good material. That's how the vulcanization process of vulcanization came to the world. So accidentally it was dropped into the hot stove. When it was removed, they realized that the material was no longer affected by temperature. Right? Despite stretching, it always returned to the original shape. මැදලා ආය ගන්නකොට ආයසර කොච්චර රස්ටි වුණත් ආයසර අර original size එකට මාව. So that stretching flexibility was there. Right? ඒක දෙසරක් කරන්න පුළුවන්. එද්දත් තමයි. So this process of vulcanization made it possible during that time to use rubber in raincoats, shoes, especially overshoes. අපි හිමේ දානවා overshoes කියලා හිමේ වතුර ice වැටෙන නිසා. And eventually many other products including tires. Right? Including tires. අපි මේක මේ සයිඩ් එක කරා rubber is an elastomer that is polymer that has a ability to regain its original shape after being deformed. So we discussed this issue, and then we need to understand very importantly, I am udit karama putta, the composition of and structure of the latex. Right? Then මෙතන මේ on your right hand side I have drawn a rubber particle in a fresh natural rubber sample in ගත්තයා. Comprise a sphere of mainly rubber hydrocarbon. Then rubber අණුවක් ගත්තොත් එහෙම ඒ rubber අණුවේ මැද තියෙනවා, right, sphere of mainly rubber hydrocarbon. ඒකේ තියෙන rubber hydrocarbon එක ඊට පස්සේ then that rubber hydrocarbon is surrounded with phospholipid layer B, phospholipid layer, and then as the outer layer you find a protein layer. So there is a protein layer. So innermost you find rubber hydrocarbon, then phospholipid layer, then protein layer. Right? If you are asked to draw a cross section of a rubber, what do you call so yeah, molecule, right? So the component, as I mentioned again, dry rubber DRC is 30 to 35, water 60 to 65, proteinous substances 1 to 1.5, carbohydrates 1%, lipids 1 to 2.5, ash 1%. So that is the so this composition of natural rubber varies with other external variables. What are those external variables? This composition පොඩ්ඩක් වෙනස් වෙන්න පුළුවන් මේ composition එක clone එක විදිහට. අපි දැන් clone එක කියන වචනේ T වල use නොකරට rubber වල use කරනවා rubber clones. but T වල අපි use කරන්නේ නැහැ. අපි cultivar කියලා use කරන්නේ. The reason is because these both of are export products. The consistency may be changed, but there's a huge what do you call knowledge gap, right? So the composition of natural rubber varies with cultivar. Cultivar එක අනුව ඒ composition එක වෙනස් වෙනවා, especially dry rubber content. Some cultivars they have low dry rubber content compared to high yielding varieties like where they have higher dry rubber content. Season, so based on the clone, DRC වෙනස් වෙනවා. Clone season එක අනුව එකත් වෙනස් වෙනවා. Soil condition එක අනුව එකත් වෙනස් වෙනවා. Tapping method එක අනුව වෙනස් වෙනවා. Tapping frequency වෙනස් වෙනවා. The age of the tree also contributing for the composition of natural rubber. Okay, you have to memorize these composition of latex, and you should be able to draw this structure of rubber molecule. And what are the, you should be able to write what are the way, what are responsible to change the composition of natural rubber, right? Okay. That ends the one component. So in that video, I guess you saw this thing, right? Or you can label it as an instrument, but exactly it's a glassware like item, and you should be able to identify what is this instrument. It's not in the right. So can anyone tell me what is this instrument who are from rubber sector? Any volunteer? Anyone from dairy industry? No. Yeah, dairy industry, they use lactometer, right? But in rubber industry, it was scaled in different manner and used for different purpose. And this instrument is called, it's a glass instrument used to measure or estimate the dry rubber content of field latex. So regularly, mostly 30 to 35% of it may vary from sometimes cultivar to cultivar, or clone to clone. So field latex, so based on the field latex, the payments for tappers are made. But once they come to the collecting point or factory, those milk quality is measured using the Metrolac. So this instrument is called Metrolac reading. So you should know how to read the correct reading of the Metrolac. And students, you should be able to draw Metrolac and of the instrument units and how to take readings correctly. So in general, this gives idea which can measure the what do you call that, bulk density through which we can get the dry rubber content. They were recalculated. So how to read the correct reading on the Metrolac. Students are, so you can get, so this is how it is read. So very basic chemistry. So how to take readings correctly, right? That meniscus is there, meniscus is yatama enamai mind samanya. Right? So I have some exam questions set from the previous section. Can I have a look with your Limit. Rubber is known by 1,4-polyisoprene, right? So you have to memorize this one, right? Because that is the exact name for that structure of natural rubber. Not trans, you know the difference between cis and trans if you know the chemistry. Polyisoprene, right? 1,4. And then which of the following statement is incorrect? Natural rubber is trans polyisoprene. Is not correct. So cis polyisoprene. So at the beginning I explained polyisoprene is a collective name for polymers, right? That are produced by a process known as polymerization of isoprene. If you go deep into principle, there are 4 types of different isomers can form cis 1,4-polyisoprene, which is called isoprene
Excuse me,
rubber.
sir. Excuse me, sir.
Go
No
ahead, yeah.
slides.
Sorry,
No
can you see
slides are
slide?
visible.
Can you see the slide?
We can't see it.
Slide එකේ පෙන්නේ නැද්ද?
No, sir.
Oh, sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. දැන් පේනවනේ. කියන්න ඕනේ.
Okay.
Let me go to the previous one then. මේක දැක්කේ නැද්ද? මේ ඉන්ස්ට්‍රුමන්ට් එක දැක්කද?
ඒක දැක්ක සර්.
Okay. මේක දැක්කානේ? meniscus? Okay. This one, right? Okay. Okay. So I have some slides I will show you. So the rubber coagulates into soft uh, white color mass, right? Yellow issue yathira. Once it is coagulated, it's called coagulum, right? And then filtered and washed with water. Then which component has a maximum composition of heavier brushless latex? So heavier latex normally, as you know, 55 to 65% of water, right? 30 to 35% of DRC, dry rubber content. Rubber hydrocarbon around 30 to 40%, while proteins and sugars are present in the very little amounts. So what are the sequential processes through which rubber latex undergo to give natural rubber? So the tapping is done, right? After tapping, before coming to the factory, to avoid coagulation, we put an microbial reactions. We add some preservating agents, right? So also is first one, tapping, preservation, and coagulating. Tapping is in the banning. Then preservation and coagulation, because the rubber latex from rubber tree or heavier tree first undergo tapping. So what latex in, that is obvious. Then it's preserved using preservatives like sodium pentachlophenate, like preservatives, to avoid microbial actions, because it has sugar. One of sugar make a microbial right? That's why preservation is done. Then only coagulation using acetic acid or formic acid. I'll explain it later. So which substance is added to the dye with latex to prevent darkening of latex? So in chapter 1 ke keewalam, you know the answer, right? Sometimes certain chemicals are added to dilute the latex to prevent darkening of latex. Because this chemical is sodium bisulfite. This chemical, sodium bisulfite, is added to the dilute latex before tapping to prevent darkening or what I call the discoloration of the latex, which may otherwise develop a kind of consecutive enzymatic reactions in the latex involving its phenolic constitutes, producing a kind of dark colored pigment melanin. So that chemical is used to avoid that one. Then, the answer, the rubber technology department of Sri Lanka is located at Ratmalana, not Aglavata, right? The most vital developments of all the collection of latex were discovery of tapping as a technology by various people involved in this process and Ridley developed this technology, right? And if you really okay. How දෙසිය එකයි විසි දෙකවද කවුද දෙසිය එකයි විසි දෙක එකයි දෙසිය විසි දෙක Can you hear me? දෙසිය එකයි විසි දෙක ඉන්නවද දෙසිය එකයි විසි දෙක දෙසිය විසි දෙක 20122200332 ඉන්නවද නැත්ද ඒගොල්ලෝ මම රෙකෝඩ් කරගන්න ඕගොල්ලෝ නැතුව බොරුවට ඉන්න එපා දෙසිය තිස් දෙක ඉන්නවද Are you there? බොරුවට ඉන්නේ ඒගොල්ලෝ දෙසිය කිසිද කවුද what is your name දෙසිය එකයි විසි දෙක
මල්කා සර් මට සිග්නල් ටිකක් අඩුයි නැතොට
දරු ආයතන සිග්නල් අඩුවාට දැන් බේසික් නොලෙජ් එක තියෙන්න එපා අතන ගෙස්ට් කරන්න ඉන්න ඔයාගේ නම දා ගන්නකො ඔයාගේ ඉන්ඩෙක්ස් නම්බර් එකත් එක්ක
හරි සර්
EPM කියලා දාගෙන ඔයාගේ නම ඔයාට මම කතා කරන්නේ මම 22 කියලා කතා කරන්න ඕනේ මම කවුරුත් කියන්නේ නැද්ද ඔයාලා හැමදාම ලෙක්චර්ස් වලදී එහෙමද කරන්නේ නම දාගන්නේ නැද්ද හැම එකම නම දාගන්න then I can communicate with you right දැන් මේක පුළුවන් තරම් මේ ටෙක්නොලොජි එකත් එක්ක යූස් කරනකොට දැන් මේක යන discussion form එකේ යන්න ඕනේ නැත්නම් I normally don't like to conduct this kind of classrooms right again අපිට boring මේ කකා තමයි ඉන්නේ ඉතින් අපිට කතා ඉඳගෙන ලෙක්චර් එක කරනවා කියන්නේ. තේරුණා? එතකොට කවුද ඉන්නේ 47 ඉන්නේ? දැන් ස්ලයිඩ් එක ආයෙ වෙන්නේ නැද්ද? ස්ලයිඩ් එක පේනවනේ. පේනවද? Right.
Sir?
Can you see the slide?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What is the answer to this question?
Three.
3, yeah. Yeah. අපිට මේක ඔයගොල්ලන් ඉන්ටරෙස්ටින්ලි අහගෙන ඉන්න ඕනේ නැත්නම් ඉතින් I can make the exam very difficult, right? Practical එකකුත් තියෙනවනේ. අහනකොට ඒ කට්ටිය ඉන්න ඕනේ ඒතර නැත්නම් ඉතින් නෑ. Okay. So this question. Natural rubber contains polymers of an organic compound and known as and the synthetic rubber that are produced by polymerization of chlorophene is known as, right? Neoprene, isoprene and neoprene, right? Okay. Okay, now we'll move to the chapter 2, where we are trying to understand the RSS, rim smoke sheets. So at the end of this first chapter, you will find 20 yes no questions and some multiple choice questions, right? And one essay type question. So if you watch the videos which I have uploaded to the LMS, you may understand what is lactifers, and in terms of tapping, right? Tapping chemistry. So these yes no questions are a little bit difficult because we need some additional reading sometimes. Okay, there's a question. If you are in front, if your module is with you, page number 9. Page number 9, last question. Mr. Parnaman 201 Are you there? මේක සිග්නල් තියෙන තැනට යන්න ඕනේ නැත්නම් ඔයගලන්ට මෙහෙන් දුනා නම් ඉන්න ලෝක ප්‍රශ්නයක් නේ නේ. ලොකු වියදමක් යනවනේ ඒ නිසා සිග්නල් තියෙන තැනකට ගිහිල්ලා මේ ලෙක්චර්ස් වලට සෙට් වෙන්න ඕනේ එක්ස්ටර්නල් ඩිග්‍රී කරන කට්ටිය. නැත්නම් ඒක සක්සස්ෆුල් වෙන්නේ නැහැ නේ ඉතින්. ඔයගලන්ගේ පැත්තෙමුත් එෆර්ට් එකක් තියෙන්න ඕනේ. ගෙදර ඉඳන් හරි ගෙදර ඉන්න මේ සිග්නල් තියෙන තැනකට ගිහිල්ලා එෆර්ට් එකක් හදා ගන්න ඕනේ. Otherwise it's not good. I know you have a lot of difficulties, but try your best. Right? නැත්නම් ඉතින් අපි හරියන්නේ නැහැ. නැත්නම් අපි ඉස්සර වගේ සබ්ජෙක්ට් දෙකකට සැරයක් ෆිසිකලි ගෙන්නන්න වෙනවා. දැන් ඔයගොල්ලන් හැම වෙලාවෙම කියනවා නම් සිග්නල් මදි කියලා. ඒක හරියන්නේ නැහැ. Mr. Eranda, are you there? EPM DCI 99. Eranda?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So there's a statement on page 9 of your module 20. Statement number 2. Poor hygiene has no effect on latex quality. Yes or no? වැරදුනට කමක් නැහැ කියන්නේ. I need active participation. වැරදුනා කියලා බලන්න එපා. Yes or no? Then poor hygiene.
Yes.
Yeah, because we know that these දැන් අපි milk වගේම මේකත් subject to contamination, perishable. Right? Sugar තියෙනවනේ. And then 19, dry rubber content affects the specific gravity of latex because that is instrument. What is the instrument I told you to measure the dry rubber content? මොකද instrument එකේ නම? අර වීඩියෝ එකත් කරුවද ඔයගොල්ලෝ? වීඩියෝ එක දැක්කද? වීඩියෝ එක දැක්කද ඔයගොල්ලෝ? how to measure the dry rubber content? දැක්කද වීඩියෝ එක? දැක්කද? ඒ කියන්නේ ඔයගොල්ලන් ඒක දැක්කද ඉන්ස්ට්‍රුමන්ට් එකේ dry rubber content එක මයින් එක දැක්කද? Anybody from rubber industry? කවුරු ඉන්නවද rubber industry එකේ? I'm glad to know. නැද්ද? කවුරුත්? rubber industry එකේ ඉන්න? අර මෙට්‍රොලැක් කියන එක දැක්කද? මෙට්‍රොලැක් දැක්කම වීඩියෝ එකේ තිබ්බනේ. මෙට්‍රොලැක් එක ඉපනේ එක මෙට්‍රෝ ලැක් එක.
ඒවයි ඝනත්වය මනිනවා.
ඔතින්
මහා පරිමාණ නිෂ්පාදකයෝ රබර් කිරි කර්මාන්තශාලාවට ගෙනීමෙන් පසු ඒවයි ඝනත්වය මනිනවා.
ඔයගොල්ලෝ දැක්කද මෙට්‍රෝ ලැක් එක? That's called metro lack. So because the payment is made,
ඉන් පසු
payment එක ගෙවන්නේ මේ dry rubber content එක අනුව. ඒ ඝනත්වය අනුව තමයි payment එක ගෙවන්නේ. ඉතින් එතකොට මේ ඒගොල්ලන් එක දැනගන්න ඕන. Okay, without taking much time, let's move to this. So this is the first intermediate product we are going to discuss today. RSS, rib smoke sheets. Right, dum sheet කියලා කිව්වේ අතන වීඩියෝ එකේ. So these are the conventional forms of natural rubber, intermediate product. No? So we know that natural rubber is produced from latex obtained from rubber tree. And both RSS and the crepe rubber, the next chapter we are talking about, are usually prepared from coagulated field latex. Right now you know the term coagulation. So here, the clearest form of natural rubber is not RSS, that is crepe rubber. If you visit a Rubber Research Institute and there is a factory next to the Rubber Research Institute, owned and managed by the Rubber Research Institute, they produce mainly crepe rubber, right? Crepe rubber. But in Sri Lanka, at cottage level or small scale level, RS is done mostly by smallholders. Right? You should know, try to understand why RSS is done mostly by smallholders. Right? At the same time, you should know what is the most important form of natural rubber processed in Sri Lanka. They are not RSS, they are crepe rubber. So under this one, we are going to discuss RSS, crepe rubber, then block rubber or technically specified rubber, and then concentrate latex. ඔන්න ඔය හතර ගැන තමයි මූලික වශයෙන් අපි කතා කරන්නේ. ඊට අමතරව latex ගැන කතා කරා. We talk about latex and its chemical composition. History කතා කරා, latex ගැන කතා කරා. Then RSS, then crepe rubber, then technically specified rubber or TSR, then concentrate latex. Finally, we talk about that wastewater treatment in rubber factory, which is one of the important areas, right? So this industry is developing is in developing trend because with the technology, this is changing every day. මේ තාක්ෂණයත් එක්ක මේ නිෂ්පාදන ක්‍රියාවලිය පුරුවන් තරම් දියුණු වෙමින් පවතිනවා. Things there's a complaint also, right? මෙන්න මේ හැම එකටම අපි use කරනවා chemicals. එතකොට මේ chemicals වලින් පරිසරයට ලොකු හානියක් වෙන්න තියෙන හැකියාව වැඩි. ඒ නිසා ඒක අවම කිරීමටත් හැම වෙලාවෙම with the objective of sustainably manufacturing these RSS or crepe rubber or technically specified rubber or centrifuge rubber, they are trying to replace these chemicals with chemicals which has a little impact on environment, right? If we go back to the international market, sheet rubber RSs are produced and marketed in two terms. One is ribbed smoke sheets, other one is air dried sheets. So among these two types, RSS or ribbed smoke sheets is the most popular and is available in Sri Lanka also for consumption, and mostly it is done as a domestic industry. And once RSS is manufactured, there exist different grades of RSS, namely RSS super grade, RSS 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Right? So you should know, at least you should be able to give one grade, one produce used to manufacture economically important part. For example, that supreme grade RSS 1X is used for aeroplane tires. RSS 1 is used for tubes. RSS 2 is used for footwear, quality footwear, and so on. RSS 3 and 4 are used for tires and tubes. Off-road tires, footwear. RSS 5 is used for handmade hoses and cheap items. Right? So, as I mentioned earlier, RSS is the most popular type of sheet rubber. Under this module, we'll try to understand what is RSS. And we should understand the unit operations of manufacturing of RSS. Right? Unit operations of manufacturing of RSS. and then understand the importance of each unit operations and identify common defects found in RSS and their causes and relevant corrective measures to rectify the issues. And list the different grades of RSS as I mentioned earlier. There are 5 grades starting from RSS 1X, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then identify the industrial uses of different grades of RSS. Right? So these are the different grades of RSS, ribbed smoke sheets. So here I have given a flow chart which show how this raw RSS is produced in Sri Lanka. More than 40% of rubber produced in Sri Lanka are RSS, but now it is coming down because there's a huge demand for crepe rubber. So our country is popular in terms of crepe rubber. So no country cannot could able to manufacturing that much of clean, not this one, crepe rubber, not RSS. So as I mentioned earlier, RSS sheets are the oldest and most popular type, and the same time it is popular because it's the simplest and easiest type to produce on a small scale or small holders rubber in most of the countries, including Sri Lanka. Right? So it's a cottage industry. If you see the video, it's a cottage industry. So you see different grades. So once the rubber latex is exploited after tapping the rubber tree, very simply, latex is diluted with water and allowed to coagulate by adding coagulating agent. I mean, I'm trying to explain it. Right? එතකොට coagulating agent එකක් දාපු ගමන් ඒක coagulate වෙනවා. නේද? කැටි ගැසෙනවා. ඒතකොට කැටි ගැසුවට පස්සේ once it is coagulated, it is called coagulum. Then this coagulum කියන්නේ අර අපි රොටි හදන්න අනාගන්න පිටි ගුලියක් වගේ coagulate වුණාට පස්සේ ඒ අපි ගුලි වගේ හදාගෙන කඩා ගන්නවා අර coagulate වෙච්ච තැනින්. ඒකල ඒක අපි මිල්ලයක් කරා යවනවා. මිල්ලයක් කියන්නේ රෝලර්ස් දෙයක්. ඔයගොල්ලන් දැක්කනේ අර වීඩියෝ එකේ? Right? They are called mills. ඒක මේ දෙයක් කරා යවුවට පස්සේ ඒවා sheets බවට පත් වෙනවා. Right? Those seeds are subjected to smoke drying, and that's why they are known as smoked sheets. That is the very simple explanation of RSS manufacturing process, right? Okay, the second video next day බලමු. The other point I want to highlight here is this RSS, ribs box sheets, production from latex can be done either in a factory scale or in a tiny field unit or as individual small holdings. Right? Whatever it is, it has unit operations. මේ steps ටික තියෙනවා. Right? මම සරලව කිව්ව ඉස්සෙල්ලා. So these are the rubber sheets. Rubber sheeter. These are the equipment used for this manufacturing process. Rubber sheeter, rubber dryer, strainer, coagulating pans, latex preservatives, latex coagulants, baler. So these are the equipments, machineries, utensils. What are things you need? Rubber sheet again. Rollers දෙක ඔයගොල්ලන් දැක්කා. මිල් එක. Right? Chemicals මොනවද? Latex preservatives ඕනි to avoid the microbial contaminations. At the same time, they need coagulants. Right? Okay. So this is a rubber sheeter. Make a hand operated one. Make one just being up there. Okay, this now we have come to the most important point. When made the higher, everyone should memorize this unit operation. Make a mummy bag down. Right? First operation is latex collection and straining. Try to understand its meaning. Latex collection. So we collect the latex from the field and straining. Strain karna again, perana again, straining. Mesh එකක හරහා යවනවා. එතකොට තියෙන අනිත් දේවල් අයින් වෙනවා. Strain කරනවා. Right? Straining. Then once it is strained, يعني මොනවා හරි ආගන්තුක ද්‍රව්‍ය තියෙනවා නම් අයින් කරගන්න පුළුවන්. පෙරහනක් තුලින් පෙරුවට පස්සේ. First one you can understand, right? Latex collection and straining. Then the most important point is standardization of latex. So here, standardization means is dry rubber content is taken to a standard level. Right? Its dry rubber content is taken to standard level. 12.5 DRC content එක දක්වා ගේන්න ඕනි. Right? මොකක්ද ඒකට කරන්න ඕනි? Can any volunteer can answer? Kasun? Are you there?
Yes, sir.
මොකද කරන්න පුළුවන් දැන් අපි dry rubber content එක කොච්චර තියෙනවද මේ latex වල? latex වල dry rubber content කීයක් තියෙනවද සාමාන්‍යයෙන්?
30 to 35%, sir.
ඔව් තියෙනවා. එතකොට අපි 12.5 දක්වා අඩු කරගන්න ඕනි. මොකද්ද කරන්න පුළුවන්?
Dying from smoke, sir.
නෑනේ එතකොට අපි මේක මේක තවදුරටත් මේ DRC එක අඩු කරගන්න ඕනේ. එතකොට dry කරොත් එහෙම තවත් වැඩි වෙනවනේ. නේද? DRC එක තවත් වැඩි වෙනවද? percentage එක. දැන් මේකෙදි latex වල ලීටර් 100ක් ගත්තොත් latex ඒකේ DRC එක තියෙන්නේ 130ක් 35ක්. dry කරොත් එහෙම වතුර ප්‍රමාණය තවත් අඩු වෙලා 40 50 වෙන්න පුළුවන් dry කරොත් එහෙම. දැන් මේක අපි අඩු කරගන්න ඕනි. මොකද්ද කරන්නේ ඒකට? Any volunteer? Malka, are you there? EPM 211. Are you there? EPM 20011. Are you there?
Yes, sir.
Now my question is, to reduce the DRC content from 30 to 12.5, what can you do? What are the things you can do? මොකක්ද ඒ concentration එක අඩු කිරීමද වැඩි කිරීමද කරන්නේ මේ? Are we going to increase the concentration or decrease the concentration? ඒ කියන්න බැරිද? අඩු කරනවද වැඩි කරනවද concentration එක?
Increase කරන්න.
increase කරනවා කියන්නේ concentration එක increase කරනවා කියන්නේ 30 ඉඳන් 40 දක්වා වැඩි කරනවා කියන එක. දැන් මෙතන කරන්නේ අඩු කරනවානේ. concentration එක. අපි කියමුකෝ if you are preparing a cup of milk using powdered milk. නේද? cup පහක් දැම්මොත් එහෙම මේකේ 30%, cup 6ක් දැම්මොත් එහෙම 40%, cup 7ක් දැම්මොත් එහෙම 50%. cups ගන්න අඩු කරන්න concentration එක cups ගන්න වැඩි කරන්න powdered dry rubber content හරි මොනවා හරි powdered වැඩි කරන්න concentration එක වැඩි වෙනවා. concentration එක අඩු කරන්න මොකද කරන්න ඕනේ?
Adding water.
Yeah, very simply we can add water, right? So that is called standardization. Very good. That's called standardization. Right? Very simple. We have to take the dry rubber content to a standard percentage, that is 12.5. So you can calculate based on the DRC content the amount. We can calculate the amount of water need to add to make it into standard DRC content. Then again restraining. Straining කිව්වේ මම ආයෙත් පෙරහන කරා යවන එක. පෙරනවා. Right, then preparation of acid solution and addition of acid. Right? So acid is added to as a coagulating agent, right? So once the acid solution is prepared, it is added as a coagulating agent. Then froth can be seen. Froth can pena කියන එකට pena froth FROTH pena. So once you add acid to that standardized latex, you can see a lot of froth, right? Froth. That froth need to be removed, and that is allowed to coagulate. එතකොට කැටි ගැසීමට ලක් වෙනවා after adding acid. එතකොට කැටි ගැසුණාට පස්සේ it is subjected to milling. Milling කියන roll දෙයක් අතරින් යවුවාට පස්සේ ඒක නිකන් රොටියක් වගේ sheet එකක් එනවා. Then dripping, smoking and grading and storing. One second. Let me
rubber sisu mister rubber
I'm showing this slide. Can you see?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
The මෙතනදී
formic acid කොපි විශාල කර්මාන්තශාලාවල නිෂ්පාදනය කරනවා. sheet rubber ගෘහ කර්මාන්තයක් ලෙස පුරා රබර් වතු නිර්මිත විශාල රබර් වතුවලදී විශාල කර්මාන්තශාලාවල නිෂ්පාදනය වෙනවා.
දැන් ඒක මැනගන්නවා.
පැරණි ක්‍රමයට නම් රබර් කිරි කැටි වලට දැම්මා formic acid හෝ acidic acid එක කිරීමෙන් මුදවනවා. එසේත් නැත්නම්
So formic acid or acidic acid is used as a coagulating agent. ඇසිඩ් එකක් යූස් කරපුවා ඒක තමයි coagulating agent එක.
ඝන බවට පත් කරනවා. මෙසේ රබර් ඝන බවට පත් වීමට පැය 3-4 අතර කාලයක් අවශ්‍යයි.
cloth එක අයින් කරනවා. මේ domestic industry එකේ කරනකොට ලක් වේ රොඩ් වේ මැටනවා පේනවනේ.
මුදවාගත් සුදු පැහැති රබර් රොටි කිවත් රබර් ෂීට් ඩයමන්ඩ් රෝලර් නමින් හැඳින්වෙන යකඩ රෝලර් තමයි අඹරා ගන්නවා.
This is a mill, right? Roller කියන්නේ මේක අතින් ඔපරේට් කරන්න පුළුවන් නැත්නම්
පසුව රබර් දුම්ගේ කිවත් දුම් කාමරයට තමයි හොඳින් වේලා ගන්නවා.
so
ඒවායි ඝනත්වය
this is other story where the dry rubber content
පරිමාණ නිෂ්පාදකයෝ රබර් කිරි කර්මාන්තශාලාවට ගෙනීමෙන් පසු ඒවායි ඝනත්වය වඩිනවා.
ඝනත්වය කියන්නේ දන්නවද? ඝනත්වය කියන්නේ ඒක DRC content එකේ තියෙන ඒක DRC content එක ඝනත්වය හරහා අපිට බලා ගන්න පුළුවන්. කියන්නේ ඒක estimate එකක්. හරියටම බලනවා නම් lab එකක කරන්න ඕනේ. නමුත් මේක just a estimation using this metro lab. මොකද metro lab එක? මේ metro lab එක වෙනින්ම
ඒවායි ඝනත්වය වඩිනවා. පසු රබර් කිරි විශාල ටැංක් වලට තමයි ෆෝමිකෝ ඇසිඩික් ඇසිඩ් එක් කර මුදවනවා. රබර් කිරි විදුරු පසු එනම් ඝන බවට පත් වූ පසු ෂීට්ව තහඩු ලෙස වෙත් කරගෙන වඩා දියුණු ලෝහමය රෝල් තුලින් යවා රබර් ෂීට් සකසනවා. මේ ක්‍රියාවලියේ අවසාන රෝලේ කට්ට හා දාර තිරීම විශේෂයි.
yeah. Oh. Oh.
සීතලගත් රබර් ෂීට් දුම්ගෙට දමා බියලා ගැනීමෙන් RSS කිවත් රිප් ස්මෝක් ෂීට් කිවත් දුම් රබර් ෂීට් නිපදවා ගන්නවා.
Thank you. Okay, that is the story. I guess Risala Balapilave, you may not able to understand it properly, but so medical may 10 medical balaganda latex collection and straining very simple. Standardization by adding water, reduce the concentration, restraining, then preparation of acid solution and adding the acid as a coagulating agent. Then after that, froth is removed and it is subjected to coagulation after 3 to 4 hours. Then it is sent through miller, not miller, it's mill, and the resulting. So there are in industrial level there are different mills with අපි කිව්වේ කට්ට කියලා. ඒ මිල් එකේ තියෙන ඒ රෝලර්ස් වල කට්ට අනුව ඒකේ හැඩ තල හැදෙනවා ඒකේ. Then those resulting sheets were washed. So that's why I told you large amount of water is required to start a rubber factory. Then once sheets were washed, they were subjected to drip, right? Dripping කරලා දැන් අපි රෙදි වේලනවා වගේ වැලක එල්ලලා drip කරනවා. Then after that smoking is done to reduce the moisture level further, and the resulting sheets are subjected to grading based on the external appearance and sent to the market, right? So it's an industrial raw material, not the end product. So in commercial level, they send through the last roller as a diamond. It's called diamond roller, right? Because it's diamond shape. Things roller surface is diamond shape. Things are there. Then the end sheets are coming with that shape. Then this roller, the sheets were washed with running water for a short time to prevent discoloration and remove residual non-rubber particles and avoid possible mold growth. Right? Otherwise, it is subject to mold growth, and then drain off the surface moisture and reduce smoking period. So during this process, we need to understand the importance of standardization of latex in RSS manufacturing process. So here, it helps in achieving quality consistency of final RSS and gives a soft coagulum which can be easily be sheathed. So assist in faster settling of dirt is the other objective of this one, and improve the clarity of the sheets. Then finally, we can get very high quality sheets, and so that is the whole objective of standardization, right? Okay, if I repeat the content of this slide, so here I am trying to explain one step which is known as standardization. So during this process, the water is added and the dry rubber content of the latex is taken or reduced to a standard percentage. Right? So the final RSS has that quality consistency. At the same time, this gives a softer coagulum which can be easily be sheeted by sending through these sheets. At the same time, they assist in faster settling of dirt. Finally, we can get some sheets with improve in clarity. Right? Finally, it facilitates the escaping of any trapped air and fermentation gases from the latex. Okay. So, since the standardization step is very important, I just put it at the beginning. So we explained 10 steps. Latex collection and straining, standardization of latex, restraining, preparation of acid solution, and fifth one is missing, yeah. Then adding coagulating agents, and fourth one should be addition of acid and coagulation. Then milling, sheet washing, dripping, smoking, and grading and storing. These are the 10 steps in RSS manufacturing process. What is latex collection, standardization. First one is latex collection and straining. Second one is standardization, where the DRC content is taken to 12.5 by diluting through adding water. Then restraining, right? Because during the latex collection also latex is subject to strain. Restraining, then adding, fourth one is addition of acids as a coagulating agent. It is pahatamai coagulation. Fifth එක තමයි milling කියන්නේ rollers දෙකක් අතරින් යවන එක. Right? සමහරලාට rollers දෙක තුනක් කරා යවනවා. Then after that the resulting sheets were washed with clean water and they were hanged to remove water and then subjected to smoking, through which additional water is removed or dried, and finally grading, subject to grading and storing. Clear, right? So as I mentioned earlier, the separation of fine sand particles and dirt from fluid latex by straining is found to be not practical due to high viscosity, because it's subject to a lot of wastage. So that's why straining is done before and after standardization. So dilution is done with the addition of water. The fluidity of latex will be increased, and separation of fine sand, dirt will be easily practiced. එතකොට ඒ තියෙන මොනවද කියන්නේ, so foreign particles can be easily separated during this process. And finally, this latex should therefore be diluted with clean water to produce a standard consistency, which finally we can take to the standard TRC content 12.5. Okay. So that is the story. Then you should be able to calculate the amount of water required for standardization, right? So during the standardization process, as I mentioned earlier, we need to add water, right? So the amount of water required to bring the latex to this standard TRC concentration or standard dilution need to be calculated from the DRC and volume in this manner. So this is the equation, right? Okay. D is equal to standard DRC or desired DRC. Okay, the 12.5. It is non-fact, right? It's a fixed. Then D is a percentage of field latex. Simple D. Right? Volume of standardized latex in liters. Volume of field latex in liters. So we should be able to calculate volume of water required for dilution. Therefore, V minus V. So we can calculate the V, capital V, right? Simple V, actually. Then volume of field latex is 725. DRC of field latex is 32%. Standards of consistency, this is non-fact. Then we have to calculate the capital V, that is volume of water required for, not that one. You need to calculate volume of standardized latex in liters. Final volume. Okay. Look at, can you try to understand this using this? Or in other words, you can use this equation also. So this equation use P VW is equal to VR TF. VW is the volume of water required for dilution. VF is volume of field latex. DF is the DRC of field latex or DRC of standard latex. DF. divided by ds. Okay. So either this equation or this equation. So can you calculate the volume of water? Can you write down? This there's another situation where can you calculate the volume of water required to standardize 350 liters of 25% of dry rubber content latex to 12.5 dry rubber latex using both method, right? Do I need to explain it again? So the question is calculate the volume of water required to standardize 350 liters of 25% DRC latex to 12% DRC, that is standardized latex. So volume of water required for dilution, volume of field latex is known. Right? Which in the previous one. Okay, I'll give 5 minutes break. During that time, try to finish that one. Okay, I'm showing one of the field visit with external students. So before the pandemic, we used to visit some estates also and factories. Rubber factories, and here you can see. Can you see the screen? Pen on it.
Yes, sir.
Just listen how the metrolab is used to estimate the dry rubber content. Okay, so that is actually one. During that time, we used to organize few field visits with students like you and get exposed to different practical components. I'm a subject again, so but certain selected subjects for rubber, agronomy and processing we combine and visited that estate closer to Kegel. So if you make a request from Chandana, we also can arrange similar one. So can you calculate the volume of water required to standardize 350 liters of this question? Did you try to calculate? Any volunteer? Calculate करा कौन रहा है? Can you hear me? Oh, I know that. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
कौन मैं calculate करा दे मैं अरे मंदुन ने answer है question है. अद Okay, I will put the answer on the page. So finally, different grades and their industrial uses. As I mentioned at the very beginning, this super grade RSS 1X used for aero tires, and RSS 1 is used for tubes. RSS 2 is used for extruded hoses and quality footwear items. RSS 3 and 4 used for tires, off-road tires, footwear. And RSS 5 is used for handmade hoses and cheap items. So this is the RSS 1. This one too. Yeah. So finally, as I mentioned earlier, with respect to the common defects in RSS, and these are the defects which can be seen visually, and based on that, they decide which grade are they in, right? Again, visual observation, they try to classify their coming under that grade or not. So with that, let me finish today's session. Okay, I want to show you some questions appear at the practical exam. And मेरे पास प्रश्न आने Okay. Came Megagi, right? Now then, you should be able to identify the instrument used to measure the density of natural rubber field latex. What is the instrument? Magal again.
Metro lab.
Metro lab. ඉක්මනට ලියන්න ඕනේ ඒකට නේද? පොඩි වෙලාවක් තියෙන්නේ. It was fill in the blanks. Density of natural rubber latex varies according to the X, and the instrument in the picture is graduated to give a direct reading. Estimation that current making, right? Density of natural rubber latex varies according to the density එක වෙනස් වෙනවා. මොකක්ද අනිත් variable එක? දැන් density එකත් එක්කම වෙනස් වෙන variable එක තමයි මේකෙම ඉන්නේ. අපේ density එක තමයි මේකෙම ඉන්නේ. මේක ආයතනයක් උතර මේ මාප් කරලා තියෙනවා. density එකයි density එකට අදාළ මොකද්ද?
Weight,
sorry?
dry weight.
dry weight නෙමෙයි අපි කියන්නේ හරි ඒක තමයි close answer. dry weight නෙමෙයි මොකක්ද කියන්නේ dry DRC කියන්නේ what is DRC?
Dry rubber content.
Yeah, dry rubber content. And the instrument is in the picture is graduated to give a direct reading. It is an estimation there. Right? It's just a estimation there. මෙන්න මේ bulk density එක chart එකක් තියෙනවා rubber research එකෙන් හදලා. එතකොට එයා mark කරනවා මේ bulk density මෙන්න මේ ගානට තිබ්බා කියන්නේ DRC content මෙච්චරයි තියෙන්නේ. එතකොට DRC content එක බලලා එතකොට අපිට ඒකේ තියෙන ගාන බලලා අපිට පුළුවන් අර දාන වතුර ප්‍රමාණය whole tank එකේ 12.5 ගේන්න ඕන නිසා standardize කරන්න පුළුවන්. තේරුණාද? ඒ කියන්නේ මේක average කරනවා ඔක්කොගෙම එන හැම මනුස්සයගෙම එන මේ DRC එක අපි average කරගන්න පුළුවන්. average roughly එක ළඟ reading එක තමයි එන්නේ සාමාන්‍යයෙන්. okay. ඒ තමයි ඒ වගේ questions විසක් අහනවා. මේ වගේ calculation එකකුත් තියෙනවා මං කිව්වේ. එතකොට ඉක්මනට calculate කරන්න පුළුවන් වෙනවා. Okay then. එහෙම ඉක්මනට ඒක blast වෙලා එන්න ඒක ලොකු අමාරුවක් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. But you know, try to read the module couple of times, and if there are some mistakes in the module, please let me know. I know there are guys from rubber factories or rubber sector. So then next time we can correct any errors or improvements. Those suggestions as well as any comments are welcome. Right? Okay, we'll see next Saturday, and today the lecture is disturbed because of the interviews. So next Saturday I can complete the next 3 chapters: centrifugal latex, TSR, technically specified rubber, and effluent treatment, that is wastewater management. In addition, I will prepare some videos which are helpful for you to sit for the practical exam. Right. Meantime, you can upload the activity based on the presentation YouTube video which I have uploaded, and the 3 activities. Right. Okay. Let me wind up today's session and see you next week. Right. If you have any questions, you can call me. My number is 07. It is there in the module. 076 625 5959. 076 625 5959. Bindu 76 625 59 59. Bindu 76 625 59 59. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.